Hi everyone, Dave McKeown here. I hope you're doing well. We've got a great show lined up for you today in our Bitesize episode. We're going to be talking around this idea of how to build a youth ministry within your church. Nathan Benger, who was on the show, and he's normally one of the hosts on the show with me, of course, we interviewed him, I interviewed him back last year, where he shared some of the big ideas around how to build a youth ministry. It's great insight here, and I think you can take it and use it not just in a youth ministry, but in other areas of your church. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you very, very soon. Tell me a wee bit of the walkthrough. How do they get from there, where they've just come in the door?
Yeah.
You know, they've come with a couple of mates. They don't know what they expect, and then they're at some point down the line leading something in the church, because that's the experience. That's what we've seen, isn't it, at the Icon Church? We've seen that development.
Definitely.
So help us a little bit with that word relationship. What does that mean, and how does that work out in the lives of a young person coming in the door? Maybe doesn't even believe in God. Maybe I'm sure you've got a story you could share on something like that.
Yeah, I mean, framing our whole youth ministry. Like asking questions like, thinking about the young people. What's the greatest barrier for young people?
Yeah.
Relationships. What's the greatest benefit? Relationships.
I like that. That's good.
And so we base everything around these three relationships.
Yeah.
So firstly, and if you talk to any of our youth leaders, just say relationship, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm going to test that next time I see them.
Test it. Right, tell me who you're going to ask so I can prepare them now. I'm joking. No, they'll get it.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's relationship with friends.
Yep.
Like they'll come in with a friend, like we get young people on fire for reaching their friends. So they'll come in with a friend. But initially when they come in, we're attaching them to a small group, what we call connect groups. We're attaching them to a connect group. So straight away, it's not just them and their friend.
Yeah.
They're attached into a group already. And so there's a group of people. And we talk to our young people about, hey, new people, like welcome them, make them feel like they belong here. Like we have a phrase, you can belong before you believe. And so like get them into that environment of friendships. Because when that friend they came with doesn't come in 2 weeks' time because they've got, like mum's 40th birthday or whatever, they still feel like they can come because it's not attached just to that one friendship. They've built other friendships within
they've
it.
Connected with a group.
Yeah.
And, just throwing out that idea of, belonging before you believe. That's an interesting thought that maybe not everybody listening to the podcast would fully get that. Can you just share a wee bit more on that? Like, give me an example. Like someone's come to Icon Church Youth. You've seen them. Maybe they don't believe at all.
Yeah. So, like, a great example is who is our Rotherham campus pastor now. Yeah. Nathan Blood.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, mate.
Yeah. Well done, mate.
He came into youth.
Does he follow Jesus actually?
Yeah, he's just made a decision.
We're
just
checking that out, really, aren't we?
But like he came into youth, like his friend Dan.
Yeah.
Brought him into youth. Really passionate about music, like science. Like he's doing his PhD now, like crazy, whilst also being a campus pastor.
Yeah. Doing a good job though.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job. And so he come into youth, and I get a message after the youth night, which basically said, I don't believe in the God stuff. And he'd got loads of these like questions that like literally as a 15-year-old lad, 16-year-old lad, he's using words that I'd never even heard of at times in these questions. And he said, but I love the kind of like the friendship side of it. Can I keep coming? And I'm like, yeah, of course you can.
So that's the belong before you believe.
Yeah. Fast forward, 4 weeks later, we do a night. It's like one of, like we framed it as one of our big nights. He was in a band with Dan. I told them they could play as long as they play no songs with any swearing or anything like that. Let me vet the songs beforehand. Anyway, that night, he gives his life to Jesus.
Amazing.
Has this incredible encounter with Jesus. But that 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks from like that opening relationship. Now he's a campus pastor,
Yeah.
leads our creative with his wife across all of our church. But that started as a person who belonged before they believed and could outwork their journey and their faith. And he had loads of questions, and many times I'd just answer his question, and then at the bottom I'd be like, I'm praying that God reveals himself to you, because I really needed God to reveal himself, because sometimes the questions are like, you know, way above me. But it is that opening relationship. But actually it speaks into the next relationship as well, which would be, so you got relationship with friends and then a relationship with a leader.
Get it.
So he felt like he could message me. We'd obviously made some level of connection. But again, when a young person comes into our youth ministry, they're straight into a small group that's full of young people, but it's also led by at least 2 of our leaders.
Yeah.
And so straight away they have someone they can talk to. And, you know, for lots of young people, they're journeying out many different things in life. And it goes back even belong before they believe. What a great, like, we want to create an atmosphere where they feel like I can come with those questions.
Yeah.
I can come and I'm not going to feel judged. I'm not going to feel condemned. I'm not going to feel like I'm in the wrong. I can do that. And part of our, you know, we have like a what we do as youth leaders. And I haven't written this down, so I'm hoping I can remember this off the top of my head. But like, we encourage spiritual growth. We contact them weekly. We pray for them. We create memorable moments. It comes down to the question, what crazy things are you willing to do for young people to have a good time? We remember special occasions. So like a youth leader will be remembering when their birthday is, when something comes up. And the last thing on our list of what we do is we connect them to church.
That's a good one, that.
So it's not just, we're just getting them here on a Friday. We're going to connect them to church.
Yeah.
And that's a key. So that'd be the second relationship. And then the third relationship ultimately is a relationship with God.
That's the
and
big end.
But
actually, for many young people, they're not going to get that until they encounter the other 2, are they?
Just that.
Do you know what I mean?
Seems we came up with that, and it seems to be a lot of young people's journey.
Yeah,
that becomes their journey. Thanks for listening to the Church Explained podcast. Remember, wherever you're consuming this content, then like it, subscribe to it, share it, get the message out there of the Church Explained podcast. Maybe you know someone who would benefit from hearing what was shared today, then please share that with them. Also want to mention that we have all of those free resources available at icon.church/open. Resources around youth ministry, but not just exclusively youth ministry. Resources around building the church, growing ministries, and anything you want to find, just go on there. And also make contact with us. If you've got any questions, anything that you want us even to talk about on the podcast, then you can ask those questions. It's been great that we've been able to gather together and do this together, and we're really excited for our next podcast, in which we're going to talk and explore the subject of why senior leaders need a coach, and we look forward to seeing you then.